Welcome to Night Drift Stories. Today, we'll explore 100 fascinating facts about Greek gods and titans. From the mighty Zeus to the mysterious Hades, each story blends myth, nature, and human imagination. Get ready for a journey through divine power, timeless lessons, and ancient wisdom, all told in a way that's easy to follow and unforgettable. Chapter 1. The Greek gods weren't just myths. They were ancient humans' way of explaining nature. Zeus, the king of gods, ruled the sky and controlled lightning. Every thunderstorm made people look up in awe, linking science and storytelling. Lightning is just electricity in clouds, but back then it was Zeus sending a message. Imagine fearing a god while watching natural electricity. Chapter 2. Hera, queen of Olympus, wasn't just Zeus' wife. She represented marriage, family, and loyalty. People saw her in every family celebration and conflict. Ancient psychology meets mythology here. Hera symbolized social order. Even today, marriage rituals echo the idea of divine blessing. Her jealous reputation wasn't gossip. It reflected human emotions amplified to divine levels. Chapter 3. Poseidon, god of the sea, created earthquakes and tsunamis when angry. Ancient Greeks lived on islands, so the sea shaped their world. Modern science explains this through tectonic plates and seismic activity. Poseidon's trident, just a poetic symbol for controlling the unpredictable ocean. People prayed before sailing, blending superstition with an early understanding of nature's danger. Chapter 4. Hades ruled the underworld, not hell. He maintained balance, collecting souls rather than torturing them. Death fascinated ancient societies, and myths explained what couldn't be measured. Today, scientists study life cycles, but Hades reminded humans that endings are natural and necessary. The story of Persephone illustrates seasonal changes, blending myth with observable science. Chapter 5. Athena, born fully grown from Zeus' head, symbolized wisdom and strategy. Ancient people admired brains over brawn, and Athena encouraged logical thinking in war and life. Her owl was a symbol of knowledge, representing awareness and vigilance. Today, neuroscience might say her birth from the head is poetic imagination of human intelligence emerging from thought itself. Chapter 6. Apollo, god of the sun and music, also represented medicine and prophecy. His dual role shows how Greeks connected health, rhythm, and nature. Solar cycles influenced agriculture and well-being. People observed seasonal changes, then told stories through Apollo. Music and science intertwined, vibrations, harmony, patterns. Worshipping Apollo was an early human attempt to harmonize with the universe. Chapter 7. Artemis, twin of Apollo, protected wildlife and childbirth. Ancient humans saw her as a guardian of life, balancing nature and society. Her bow and arrow symbolize precision and survival instincts, reflecting evolutionary skills. Hunting rituals honored her, merging myth with practical knowledge. Artemis was a goddess of independence, showing that even mythology celebrated personal strength and environmental awareness. Chapter 8. Ares, god of war, thrived in conflict, yet Greeks rarely worshipped him sincerely. Violence was feared more than glorified. War myths taught strategy, courage, and consequences, not blind heroism. His stories inspired both fear and respect. Today, psychology explains Ares as the human need to externalize aggression. But back then, his bloodlust was a warning encoded in divine narrative. Chapter 9. Aphrodite emerged from sea foam, embodying love and desire. Beauty, attraction, and romance were framed as divine forces. Ancient people observed chemistry in relationships, but translated it into enchanting stories. Even today, neuroscience calls it hormones and pheromones. Myths like hers show humans seeking patterns in emotion, transforming biology into timeless tales. Chapter 10. Hephaestus, god of fire and craft, created weapons for gods. Volcanoes and fire fascinated humans, symbolizing creation and destruction. His forge was a metaphor for human innovation and resilience. People built tools and learned metallurgy, inspired by stories of divine skill. Even now, Hephaestus reminds us that human creativity is both fiery and precise, shaping the world through imagination and craft. Chapter 11. Hermes, messenger of the gods, moved between worlds with speed and cunning. He guided souls to the underworld, connecting life and death. Ancient travelers prayed to him for safe journeys, blending myth with early navigation wisdom. His winged sandals symbolize human desire for speed and innovation. Today, physics explains motion, but Hermes gave personality to travel and communication. Chapter 12. Dionysus, god of wine and ecstasy, represented both celebration and chaos. Ancient Greeks saw wine as divine, transforming nature's harvest into joy and inspiration. Fermentation, a natural chemical process, was magic in human eyes. Dionysus, parties weren't just fun, they were rituals of release and social cohesion. His myth reminds us that pleasure and creativity often emerge from controlled chaos. Chapter 13. Demeter, goddess of agriculture, controlled crops and harvest. The story of Persephone explained seasonal cycles. Spring brought life, winter brought dormancy. Ancient farmers observed the earth carefully, translating natural patterns into myth. Her sacred rituals ensured survival, combining storytelling with early ecological understanding. Demeter embodies humanity's bond with nature, showing myths weren't just entertainment, they were guides for living. Chapter 14. Cronus, the Titan of time, feared his children overthrowing him. Ancient Greeks used his story to explain generational change and succession. Time devours all, yet myths make it relatable. Cronus, imagery, swallowing offspring, is a dramatic metaphor for inevitability. Today, science measures decay, growth, and evolution, but Cronus gave a human face to time's unstoppable flow. Chapter 15. Rhea, mother of gods, protected her children from Cronus. She represents maternal strategy and survival instincts. Feeding mythology with emotion, ancient Greeks told stories to explain family bonds and protection. Her actions teach foresight and resilience. Even in modern psychology, her story reflects the instinct to preserve the next generation. Myth and real-life maternal instincts merge seamlessly in Rhea's tale. Chapter 16. Gaia, the earth itself, birthed gods and titans alike. Ancient people personified nature to understand earthquakes, storms, and fertility. Gaia's stories remind us humans once saw the planet as alive, a system of forces interacting like characters. Today, geology and ecology provide facts, but Gaia teaches imagination. Earth isn't just ground beneath our feet, it's a living narrative shaping life. Chapter 17. Uranus, sky god, father of Titans, ruled above Gaia. His myth explains the origin of the cosmos in human terms. Separation of sky and earth mirrors natural observation, clouds above, land below. Ancient people dramatized creation, turning cosmic events into storytelling. Modern astronomy measures stars and planets, yet Uranus shows that early humans needed personality to understand vast, distant forces. Chapter 18. Oceanus, titan of the world river, symbolized water encircling Earth. Ancient Greeks imagined oceans as a boundary to the known world. Observing currents, tides, and rivers, they created a deity controlling flow and life. Today, hydrology explains water cycles, but Oceanus' myth gave humans a story to understand vast, mysterious waters and the life they sustain. Chapter 19. Hyperion, titan of light, father of Helios, Selene, and Eos, symbolizes celestial order. Sunrise, moonlight, and day-night cycles were mysteries explained through his lineage. Observing shadows and solar patterns, humans turned natural phenomena into divine family stories. Light as life, night as rest, Hyperion's myth blends science and poetry, teaching the rhythm of the natural world. Chapter 20. Iapetus, father of Prometheus, Atlas, and Epimetheus, represents human potential and consequences. His children influence myths of creativity, endurance, and hindsight. Ancient Greeks dramatized human traits through divine figures, linking morality and natural laws. Today, we might call it psychology or ethics, but Iapetus reminds us storytelling was an early method of understanding human nature and our place in the world. Chapter 21. Prometheus, titan of foresight, stole fire for humans. Fire symbolized survival, technology, and progress. Ancient people transformed raw observation into myth. Controlling fire meant power. Prometheus' punishment by Zeus reminds humans of risk and innovation. Today, fire is chemical combustion, but his story teaches creativity and defiance. Humanity's first tool, first spark, first leap forward, Prometheus made it legendary. Chapter 22. Atlas, condemned to hold the sky, represents endurance and burden. Ancient Greeks imagined celestial weight pressing on the earth. Tectonic science explains plate pressures, but Atlas gives human form to relentless force. His story inspires resilience, showing struggle as noble. Today, we face pressures metaphorically, but Atlas reminds us myth turns physical concepts into inspiring lessons of perseverance. Chapter 23. Epimetheus, Prometheus' brother, symbolizes hindsight and impulsive actions. He accepted Pandora's box without thinking, unleashing troubles. Ancient myths dramatized human error to teach caution. Today, we study cause and effect scientifically, but Epimetheus' story transforms consequence into narrative. Even mistakes have meaning. Myth gives human experience a structure, making lessons memorable through storytelling. Chapter 24. Pandora, first woman, embodies curiosity and consequence. Opening her box released misfortune, but hope remained. Ancient Greeks explained suffering and optimism in a simple tale. Biology and psychology now explain human curiosity and risk, yet Pandora's myth turns universal traits into relatable drama. It teaches balance between curiosity and caution, showing storytelling as a mirror of human nature. Chapter 25. Hecate, goddess of magic and crossroads, guided souls and choices. Ancient Greeks associated her with night, mystery, and the unknown. Observing stars and natural cycles, they linked decision-making to divine forces. Today, psychology studies choice and uncertainty, but Hecate personifies the unknown, turning life's decisions into stories and giving humans tools to interpret uncertainty. Chapter 26. Typhon, monstrous storm giant, challenged gods with destruction. Ancient people explained volcanic eruptions, storms, and natural disasters through myth. Modern science calls it tectonics and weather systems, but Typhon dramatizes danger, making nature memorable and cautionary. Fear and awe merge in storytelling. Humans encode environmental observation into unforgettable tales. Chapter 27. Eos, goddess of dawn, opens the day with rosy light. Ancient Greeks watched sunlight mark time and seasons. Eos, gentle emergence, taught rhythm and renewal. Modern science explains light scattering in the atmosphere, but myth adds emotion, making sunrise feel alive. Eos reminds us storytelling turns observation into poetry, giving daily cycles divine meaning. Chapter 28. Selene, goddess of the moon, guided night and tides. Ancient people noticed lunar patterns affecting agriculture and behavior. Myth personified this influence, teaching cycles and timing. Science now explains gravity and tidal forces, yet Selene shows humans once wove natural laws into personality, making abstract patterns tangible and emotionally compelling. Chapter 29. Helios, god of the sun, drove his golden chariot across the sky. Observing day and night, humans gave celestial movement a heroic narrative. Solar energy now fuels life, yet Helios' story shows early curiosity transformed into myth. Sunlight as a divine journey teaches rhythm, consistency, and awe. The natural world becomes a story humans can understand and celebrate. Chapter 30. Hippocamp, sea creature allied with Poseidon, embodies ocean mystery. Ancient Greeks saw dolphins and sea horses and imagined creatures beyond observation. Myth encouraged exploration while dramatizing nature. Marine biology now explains creatures scientifically, but Hippocamp inspires imagination, connecting curiosity, survival, and storytelling. Humans always blend reality with wonder, crafting lessons from observation and creativity. Chapter 31. Nereids, sea nymphs, protected sailors and marine life. Ancient Greeks relied on the sea, and they observed tides, currents, and storms. Personifying the ocean as Nereids gave humans a way to respect and understand it. Modern oceanography explains currents, but myth teaches reverence. Nereids remind us that observation becomes story, turning practical survival into engaging tales of wonder. Chapter 32. Triton, Poseidon's messenger, controlled waves with his conch shell. Sound vibrations fascinated humans, and the shell amplified nature's voice. Ancient people dramatized this as divine intervention. Today, acoustics explains the same phenomenon, but Triton made it magical. Listening to waves became a lesson in observation and storytelling. Myths like Triton turned natural patterns into memorable, instructive tales. Chapter 33. Harpies, wind spirits, carried storms and chaos. Ancient Greeks noticed sudden gusts, storms, and unpredictable weather. Myth personified these forces, teaching caution and preparation. Modern meteorology explains winds, yet harpies dramatize nature's power. Fear, awe, and storytelling combine to shape human understanding. They remind us observation, imagination, and caution can coexist in engaging narratives. Chapter 34. Charybdis, a sea monster creating whirlpools, warned sailors of danger. Ancient sailors observed whirlpools and treacherous currents, turning them into myth. Physics now explains vortices, yet storytelling made the invisible dangerous forces tangible. Myths like Charybdis taught caution while keeping adventure alive. Humans learned to respect nature by blending science and narrative. Chapter 35. Scylla, six-headed monster, represented peril in narrow seas. Ancient sailors navigated rocky straits and hazards. Observing real dangers, Greeks exaggerated them into monsters. Biology explains natural predators, geography explains hazards, but myth dramatized survival. Scylla's story makes human vulnerability memorable and teaches careful observation in life and adventure. Chapter 36. Cerberus, three-headed dog, guarded the underworld. Ancient humans dramatized death and boundaries using animals. Cerberus symbolizes protection and limits. Psychology and biology now explain instincts and territorial behavior, yet myth personifies them. Cerberus teaches humans about boundaries, caution, and respect for forces beyond control, turning abstract concepts into compelling stories. Chapter 37. Chimera, a fire-breathing hybrid, combined lion, goat, and snake. Ancient people saw natural predators and rare animals, imagining monstrous combinations. Science classifies species, yet mythology shows creative human imagination. Chimera symbolizes danger, unpredictability, and invention. Storytelling transformed observation into memorable lessons, blending fear, curiosity, and wonder into one vivid narrative. Chapter 38. Hydra, multi-headed serpent, regenerated when attacked. Ancient Greeks observed real reptiles and regeneration in nature. Myth dramatized science, teaching persistence and strategy. Cutting one head only grew more emphasizes problem-solving and adaptation. Today, biology studies regeneration, yet the Hydra story makes human challenges heroic and memorable through imagination. Chapter 39. Gorgons, like Medusa, turned humans to stone with a glance. Ancient people feared dangerous creatures and deadly plants, dramatizing them as myths. Eyes symbolize perception, danger, and consequence. Science explains toxins and threats, but myth turns survival instincts into unforgettable, engaging lessons. Gorgons remind humans how imagination interprets risk, creating cautionary tales with lasting impact. Chapter 40. Sirens lured sailors with enchanting voices. Ancient Greeks knew tides and hidden reefs caused shipwrecks. Myth transformed observation into a warning story. Sound, psychology, and survival instincts combined in narrative form. Sirens teach humans to listen carefully, interpret danger, and respect nature. Myths made practical knowledge memorable and entertaining, blending caution, creativity, and storytelling seamlessly. Chapter 41. Cyclopes, one-eyed giants, forged weapons for gods. Ancient humans observed unusual rocks, volcanic activity, and massive bones, inspiring myths. Their single eye symbolizes focus and power. Science explains geology and fossil findings, but cyclopes dramatize creation and craftsmanship. These stories encouraged respect for skill and strength while turning observation into memorable narratives, blending wonder, imagination, and practical lessons. Chapter 42. Echidna, mother of monsters, birthed many creatures of Greek myth. Ancient people feared predators and disease, dramatizing natural dangers. Her offspring, like Cerberus and Chimera, represent challenges humans face. Biology explains ecosystems, yet Echidna embodies human fascination with danger and survival. Myths like hers teach caution, creativity, and storytelling as tools for understanding the unpredictable world. Chapter 43. Tyche, goddess of luck, influenced fortune and fate. Ancient Greeks observed randomness in life, harvests, battles, and storms. Personifying chance as a deity gave humans a sense of control. Probability and statistics now explain patterns, but Tyche dramatized unpredictability. Her stories remind us that even chaos can teach lessons, making chance a character in the human story of survival and decision-making. Chapter 44. Hebe, goddess of youth, served nectar to gods, symbolizing vitality and renewal. Ancient Greeks linked diet, ritual, and longevity. Biology now explains nutrition and health, yet Hebe's myth reminds humans that habits and care influence life quality. Youth becomes narrative, vitality a story. Myths personify human concerns, making abstract ideas like health and energy memorable and engaging. Chapter 45. Hestia, goddess of hearth and home, protected domestic life. Fire and warmth were central to survival. Ancient Greeks dramatized the importance of hearth rituals, blending practicality and spirituality. Chemistry explains combustion, yet myth personifies stability, safety, and comfort. Hestia's presence teaches respect for simple, essential elements of life, and how stories reinforce social and personal values. Chapter 46. Pan, god of nature and music, lived in forests. Ancient humans noticed animal sounds and natural rhythms, turning them into myth. Pan's pipes symbolize harmony with the environment. Ecology and acoustics explain sound, yet myth makes observation enchanting. Pan reminds humans that creativity and connection to nature are intertwined, blending practical knowledge with imagination and enjoyment. Chapter 47. Asclepius, god of medicine, healed mortals. Ancient Greeks observed plants, herbs, and remedies, dramatizing healing through divine intervention. Medicine now relies on biology and chemistry, yet myths give narrative to human understanding of health. Asclepius shows observation, experimentation, and care were always part of human progress, made memorable through storytelling. Chapter 48. Morpheus, god of dreams, shaped visions in sleep. Ancient people sought to interpret dreams, linking them to the divine or personal insight. Neuroscience now explains REM cycles, yet Morpheus personifies imagination, inspiration, and the unconscious mind. His stories make abstract experiences relatable, blending mystery and science into engaging tales humans can remember and share. Chapter 49. Nemesis, goddess of balance and justice, punished hubris. Ancient Greeks observed cause and effect in society and nature. Her myth dramatizes consequences, teaching fairness and caution. Psychology and sociology now explain behavior, yet Nemesis made ethics tangible. Storytelling turns abstract rules into engaging narratives, helping humans learn lessons through myth rather than abstract reasoning. Chapter 50. Nike, goddess of victory, symbolizes achievement and effort. Ancient people celebrated success and triumph in war and sport. Observing patterns of success inspired myth. Modern psychology calls it motivation, yet Nike dramatizes perseverance and reward. Her wings remind humans that effort and timing matter. Storytelling transforms accomplishments into memorable, aspirational lessons, blending observation, emotion, and narrative seamlessly. Chapter 51. The Fates' three sisters controlled life threads: Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. Ancient Greeks observed birth, life, and death, dramatizing them as destiny. Genetics now explains heredity, but the Fates made life's unpredictability tangible. Their story reminds humans that time and chance are woven together. Myth turns mortality into a lesson, teaching caution, respect, and appreciation for the fragile thread of existence. Chapter 52. Eris, goddess of discord, caused conflict and competition. Ancient societies saw rivalry, jealousy, and disputes, dramatized in her myth. Psychology now studies social tension, yet Eris personifies chaos and unpredictability. Her golden apple story teaches consequences of choices. Myths transform human conflict into memorable narratives, showing that tension and rivalry are timeless, engaging, and educationally relevant lessons. Chapter 53. Harmonia, goddess of harmony, balanced Eris chaos. Ancient Greeks observed cooperation and social order. Her myth shows that equilibrium is vital for life. Today, sociology and psychology explain teamwork, yet myth personifies harmony, making social balance a tangible story. Harmonia teaches humans that peace and order require effort and understanding, turning abstract concepts into memorable narratives. Chapter 54. Thanatos, god of death, guided souls gently. Ancient humans observed mortality, dramatizing it to process fear. Biology now explains life cycles, yet myth gave person to the inevitable. Thanatos teaches acceptance and respect for endings. Storytelling transforms anxiety about death into a lesson in balance, making human experience comprehensible and emotionally resonant through myth. Chapter 55. Eileithyia, goddess of childbirth, assisted mothers. Ancient Greeks linked health, timing, and survival with divine care. Modern medicine explains labor and delivery, but myth personified support and protection. Aletheia reminds humans that observing natural processes inspired stories to guide behavior. She makes life's first moments both sacred and understandable, blending fact, care, and narrative. Chapter 56. The Hori, goddesses of seasons, regulated time and nature's cycles. Ancient people observed changing weather, agricultural patterns, and celestial rhythms. Myth made abstract cycles human and relatable. Modern science explains orbital mechanics and climate, yet Hori dramatized the rhythm of life. Storytelling turns patterns into engaging lessons, teaching humans to adapt and respect the world around them. Chapter 57. The Morai, closely linked to fates, remind humans of choice limits. Ancient Greeks saw cause and effect in daily life. Myth dramatized inevitability and responsibility. Today, laws of physics and biology explain outcomes, but the Morai humanize fate. Stories like theirs teach planning, caution, and accountability, turning abstract inevitabilities into memorable lessons for generations. Chapter 58. Hebe, goddess of youth and renewal, maintained vitality for gods. Ancient people valued longevity, health, and rejuvenation. Biology now explains metabolism and growth, yet myth gives energy and youth a narrative. Her story inspires humans to care for body and mind, demonstrating that myths transform observation and aspiration into vivid, engaging guidance. Chapter 59. Asclepius' daughters, Hygeia and Panacea, represent hygiene and healing. Ancient Greeks observed disease prevention and remedies, dramatized through divine figures. Modern medicine explains germ theory, yet myth personifies prevention and care. Their story teaches balance, responsibility, and curiosity. Myths transform practical knowledge into memorable narratives, blending science, morality, and human storytelling seamlessly. Chapter 60. Gaia's children, Titans, embody Earth's forces. Mountains, rivers, and storms were personified to make natural phenomena understandable. Modern geology explains tectonics, yet myth dramatizes power and creation. Stories of Titans teach humans about respect, awe, and adaptation. Myth turns observation into epic narrative, showing that ancient stories encoded science and emotion into lessons for survival and understanding. Chapter 61. Hyperion's children, Helios, Selene, and Eos, controlled sun, moon, and dawn. Ancient Greeks observed day-night cycles, lunar phases, and seasonal changes. Myth personified these patterns, making time understandable. Astronomy now explains celestial motion, yet stories of Hyperion's lineage teach rhythm, observation, and continuity. Humans learn to track time, navigate, and plan life, blending science and storytelling seamlessly. Chapter 62. Mnemosyne, goddess of memory, birthed the Muses. Ancient Greeks valued stories, learning, and oral history. Psychology now studies memory, yet myth dramatizes the power of recall. Mnemosyne reminds humans that knowledge preservation is sacred. Storytelling transforms memory into living lessons, connecting past, present, and future. Myths show learning itself can be engaging, meaningful, and poetic. Chapter 63. The Muses inspired art, music, and science. Ancient Greeks noticed patterns in rhythm, melody, and observation. Myth personified creativity, teaching humans to seek understanding and beauty. Today, neuroscience explains creativity, yet the muses dramatize inspiration. Their stories encourage exploration, curiosity, and innovation. Myth turns abstract concepts like imagination into memorable characters, guiding culture and learning. Chapter 64. Hebe, goddess of youth, repeatedly appears in myth for renewal. Ancient Greeks valued vitality and health. Biology now explains growth, metabolism, and aging, yet her presence dramatizes rejuvenation. Myth teaches humans to care for themselves, appreciate life's energy, and value renewal. Storytelling makes the abstract idea of youth tangible, inspiring habits and imagination across generations. Chapter 65. Oceanus, titan of waters, surrounds Earth. Ancient Greeks observed rivers, tides, and ocean currents. Myth personified the water cycle, teaching respect and caution. Hydrology now explains movement of water, yet Oceanus dramatizes life's dependence on water. Humans learned survival, navigation, and agriculture through stories, making natural forces memorable, engaging, and full of narrative significance. Chapter 66. Tethys, wife of Oceanus, nurtured rivers and springs. Ancient civilizations depended on fresh water. Myth dramatized essential resources, turning practical observation into divine story. Science now explains hydrology and ecosystems, yet Tethys teaches humans about stewardship, gratitude, and survival. Storytelling turns vital resources into memorable lessons, blending practicality, awe, and human imagination seamlessly. Chapter 67. The Titans Cronus and Rhea embody time and generation. Ancient Greeks dramatized succession, change, and human legacy. Observing cycles in nature, they personified these forces. Modern biology explains inheritance and evolution, yet myth dramatizes continuity. Stories of Cronus and Rhea teach planning, foresight, and resilience. Myth transforms observation into narrative, making abstract principles of life and time tangible. Chapter 68. Iapetus, children, Prometheus, and Atlas embody innovation and endurance. Ancient people dramatized human traits through divine figures. Prometheus brought fire, Atlas bore the sky. Myth translates observation into moral lessons. Science explains energy and pressure, yet myth dramatizes effort, foresight, and perseverance. Stories make human struggles understandable, heroic, and inspiring, blending creativity and life lessons. Chapter 69. Epimetheus symbolizes hindsight and impulsive mistakes. Ancient Greeks dramatized error and learning through myth. Psychology now studies human decision-making, yet stories of Epimetheus encode lessons about consequences. Pandora's box amplifies his story, showing curiosity's cost. Myth teaches caution, foresight, and understanding without abstract lectures. Storytelling turns human error into engaging, memorable lessons. Chapter 70. Pandora, first woman, embodies curiosity and hope. Ancient Greeks observed human curiosity and explained misfortune dramatically. Biology now explains risk-taking, yet myth personifies curiosity and optimism. Her story teaches that even amidst trouble, hope remains. Myth blends emotion, observation, and life lessons into memorable narrative, showing humans how storytelling communicates wisdom across generations. Chapter 71. Hades' Realm. The underworld balanced life and death. Ancient Greeks observed mortality, decay, and cycles, dramatizing them through myth. Science now explains decomposition and ecosystems, yet Hades teaches respect for endings. His domain reminds humans that death is natural, and storytelling transforms fear into understanding. Myth blends observation, morality, and imagination, making life's inevitable processes both engaging and memorable. Chapter 72. Persephone, daughter of Demeter, spends half the year in the underworld. Ancient Greeks used her story to explain seasonal changes. Plant growth and dormancy mirrored her journey. Science explains photosynthesis and climate cycles, yet myth personifies these patterns. Persephone teaches humans about cycles, balance, and patience. Storytelling makes abstract natural rhythms understandable, linking observation with narrative and cultural memory. Chapter 73. Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategy, and crafts, represents intelligence and creativity. Ancient Greeks admired logical thinking and problem-solving. Psychology now studies cognition, yet myth dramatizes insight and strategy. Athena's owl symbolizes vigilance and knowledge. Her stories teach humans that intelligence requires observation, patience, and skill. Myth makes abstract traits tangible, inspiring learning and careful decision-making through engaging narrative. Chapter 74. Ares, god of war, embodies aggression and conflict. Ancient Greeks observed human violence and dramatized it in myth. Psychology now explains aggression, yet Ares teaches caution, consequences, and strategy. His battles illustrate the cost of violence. Myth turns destructive traits into lessons, showing humans how storytelling transforms observation into engaging moral and practical teachings, blending fear, respect, and entertainment. Chapter 75. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, influences attraction and relationships. Ancient humans observed chemistry, attraction, and social bonds. Modern biology explains hormones and emotion, yet myth dramatizes human desire. Her stories teach empathy, caution, and understanding in relationships. Myth turns abstract emotions into tangible, memorable narratives, helping humans navigate love, beauty, and social complexity across generations. Chapter 76. Hephaestus, god of fire and craftsmanship, created weapons and tools. Ancient humans observed metallurgy and volcanic activity, dramatized as divine skill. Science explains combustion and metallurgy, yet myth inspires creativity and resilience. Hephaestus' forge teaches humans the power of imagination and innovation. Storytelling transforms observation into heroic narrative, showing the value of skill, patience, and human ingenuity. Chapter 77. Hermes, messenger god, connects worlds. Ancient Greeks observed communication, travel, and trade, dramatized through his speed and cunning. Modern science explains networks, transportation, and signaling, yet Hermes personifies movement and information. His stories teach efficiency, cleverness, and adaptability. Myth turns practical human knowledge into memorable, engaging narrative, blending observation with imagination and utility. Chapter 78. Dionysus, god of wine and ecstasy, transforms nature's harvest into celebration. Ancient Greeks observed fermentation and social ritual, dramatized as divine joy. Chemistry explains fermentation, yet myth inspires creativity, community, and release. Dionysus teaches humans about pleasure, balance, and adaptation. Storytelling turns observation into ritual and narrative, making natural processes memorable and culturally meaningful. Chapter 79. Demeter, goddess of agriculture, nurtures crops and survival. Ancient humans depended on harvests, dramatized through her care. Science explains plant growth, photosynthesis, and ecology, yet myth teaches respect and timing. Her rituals ensured prosperity and understanding of natural cycles. Storytelling transforms practical survival into engaging lessons, blending observation, culture, and narrative for lasting memory. Chapter 80. Cronus, titan of time, swallows his children to prevent overthrow. Ancient Greeks dramatized generational change and succession. Biology now explains inheritance and evolution, yet myth makes time tangible and human. Cronus teaches caution, foresight, and inevitability. Storytelling transforms abstract forces like time into vivid, memorable narratives, blending observation, morality, and imagination into lessons for humanity. Chapter 81. Rhea, mother of gods, protects her children from Cronus. Ancient Greeks dramatized maternal strategy and survival instincts. Modern psychology explains parenting and protective behavior, yet myth personifies foresight and care. Rhea teaches humans about planning, resilience, and nurturing. Storytelling transforms observation into memorable lessons, blending emotion, strategy, and imagination to communicate timeless wisdom about family and survival. Chapter 82. Gaia, earth personified, birthed gods and titans. Ancient people observed mountains, rivers, and natural forces. Modern geology explains tectonics and ecosystems, yet Gaia dramatizes the planet as alive. Her story teaches humans to respect nature's power and interconnectedness. Storytelling turns observation into narrative, making the Earth's forces memorable, engaging, and emotionally meaningful across generations. Chapter 83. Uranus, sky god, father of Titans, embodies celestial order. Ancient Greeks watched stars, clouds, and celestial patterns. Astronomy now explains planets and atmospheric phenomena, yet myth personifies the sky's mystery. Uranus teaches humans to observe, wonder, and find patterns. Storytelling transforms abstract cosmic forces into relatable narrative, blending science, imagination, and cultural meaning seamlessly. Chapter 84. Oceanus, titan of the world river, symbolizes water's endless flow. Ancient humans observed rivers, tides, and ocean currents. Hydrology explains water cycles, yet Oceanus dramatizes them. His myth teaches humans respect for water, survival, and exploration. Storytelling turns observation into engaging lessons, blending science, imagination, and culture to make natural forces understandable and memorable. Chapter 85. Hyperion, titan of light, represents celestial patterns. His children, Helios, Selene, and Eos, illustrate day-night cycles and seasonal changes. Ancient Greeks dramatized celestial motion, making time and light tangible. Astronomy now explains solar and lunar dynamics, yet myth teaches rhythm, observation, and continuity. Storytelling transforms natural phenomena into engaging narratives, helping humans navigate life through observation and imagination. Chapter 86. Iapetus. Children symbolize human traits. Prometheus embodies foresight, Atlas endurance, and Epimetheus hindsight. Ancient Greeks dramatized observation of human behavior. Psychology now explains cognition and resilience, yet myth personifies traits as divine characters. Stories make human strengths and weaknesses memorable and educational. Myth turns behavior into narrative, blending observation, morality, and imagination to guide human understanding. Chapter 87. Prometheus. Gift of fire symbolizes knowledge and progress. Ancient humans observed fire's survival value, dramatized through divine intervention. Science now explains combustion and energy, yet myth teaches creativity, risk, and innovation. Storytelling transforms discovery into epic narrative. Prometheus inspires humans to learn, experiment, and advance, blending observation with imagination for memorable lessons. Chapter 88. Atlas bearing the sky dramatizes burden and endurance. Ancient Greeks observed mountains and pressure, personifying them as divine responsibility. Geology explains weight and tectonic forces, yet myth teaches resilience, strength, and persistence. Storytelling transforms abstract forces into human experience. Atlas reminds us that struggle can be heroic, blending observation, morality, and imagination into memorable narrative lessons. Chapter 89. Epimetheus. Impulsiveness teaches consequences. Accepting Pandora's box reflects human curiosity and error. Psychology now explains decision-making and risk, yet myth dramatizes learning from mistakes. Storytelling makes cautionary lessons memorable. Humans internalize consequence and foresight through narrative, blending observation, behavior, and imagination to encode wisdom in engaging ways across generations. Chapter 90. Pandora embodies curiosity and hope. Opening her box unleashed trouble but preserved optimism. Ancient Greeks dramatized human traits to teach lessons. Psychology and biology explain risk-taking, yet myth personifies curiosity and resilience. Storytelling transforms abstract concepts into engaging narrative, making humans reflect, learn, and remember. Pandora's tale shows that even adversity carries hope, blending observation, imagination, and life lessons. Chapter 91. Hecate, goddess of magic and crossroads, guides decisions and transformation. Ancient Greeks observed night, mystery, and human uncertainty, dramatizing them as divine influence. Psychology now studies choice and intuition, yet myth personifies the unknown. Hecate teaches humans caution, curiosity, and awareness. Storytelling transforms abstract uncertainty into engaging narrative, blending observation, imagination, and practical life lessons in memorable ways. Chapter 92. Typhon, monstrous storm giant, represents natural disasters. Ancient humans observed volcanic eruptions, storms, and earthquakes, dramatized as divine wrath. Geology and meteorology explain these forces today, yet myth personifies danger. Typhon teaches caution, respect, and preparation. Storytelling transforms observation into narrative, turning destructive forces into memorable lessons about survival and human resilience. Chapter 93. Eos, goddess of dawn, opens the day with light. Ancient Greeks observed sunrise, light scattering, and daily cycles. Physics explains color and atmospheric refraction, yet myth dramatizes beauty and rhythm. Eos teaches humans to appreciate new beginnings and daily patterns. Storytelling turns natural phenomena into engaging lessons, blending observation, imagination, and cultural reflection seamlessly. Chapter 94. Selene, goddess of the moon, influences night, tides, and cycles. Ancient humans tracked lunar patterns for agriculture and navigation. Astronomy explains gravitational pull and lunar phases, yet myth personifies influence and guidance. Selene teaches rhythm, observation, and adaptation. Storytelling transforms abstract natural laws into narrative, helping humans understand and respect environmental patterns memorably. Chapter 95. Helios, god of the sun, drives his golden chariot across the sky. Ancient Greeks observed the sun's motion, dramatized as divine journey. Astronomy now explains rotation and orbit, yet myth teaches rhythm, reliability, and awe. Helios reminds humans to respect the sun's power and timing. Storytelling transforms celestial observation into engaging narrative, blending science, imagination, and culture. Chapter 96. Hippocamp, Poseidon's sea creature, embodies ocean mystery. Ancient humans observed unusual marine life and dramatized it as myth. Marine biology explains species today, yet storytelling turns curiosity into narrative. Hippocamp teaches humans about exploration, creativity, and adaptation. Myth transforms natural observation into memorable story, blending imagination, survival, and cultural fascination with the sea. Chapter 97. Nereids, sea nymphs, protect sailors and marine life. Ancient Greeks observed tides, currents, and navigation risks. Myth dramatizes care, guidance, and respect. Hydrology explains water today, yet storytelling teaches humans precaution and observation. Nereid stories transform practical knowledge into memorable lessons, blending science, imagination, and cultural meaning seamlessly. Chapter 98. Triton, messenger of the sea, controls waves with a conch shell. Ancient Greeks observed sound and vibrations in nature. Acoustics now explains resonance, yet myth dramatizes natural forces. Triton teaches humans to interpret signals, respect the sea, and understand cause and effect. Storytelling transforms observation into narrative, blending curiosity, imagination, and practical knowledge. Chapter 99. The Harpies, wind spirits, bring sudden storms. Ancient Greeks observed gusts and unpredictable weather, dramatized as divine messengers. Meteorology now explains wind patterns, yet myth personifies danger and caution. Harpies teach humans awareness, preparation, and respect for nature's forces. Storytelling turns observation into memorable narrative, blending imagination, survival, and cultural lessons seamlessly. Chapter 100. Charybdis, sea monster creating whirlpools, warns sailors of peril. Ancient Greeks observed currents and hazards, dramatized through myth. Physics explains vortices today, yet storytelling makes danger tangible. Charybdis teaches caution, navigation, and respect for the environment. Myth transforms natural forces into memorable lessons, blending observation, imagination, and culture to communicate survival and human experience effectively. Thank you for drifting through the world of Greek gods and titans with us. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Night Drift stories, where myth, science, and imagination meet. Remember, every story